Hello and greetings, my little sugar waffles. In the polls I did recently, you all wished for me to cover build 41.66. And I aim to please, so here we are. A bit late, but better late than never. And to throw in a little bonus and to keep it fresh, I will include the unstable beta build 41.68 to this video as well. For perhaps the changes will tickle your fancy. I definitely love what unstable build changed, but we will get into that in a bit. After this video you should have a somewhat clear idea of how the unstable beta build will alter your game, and what the current build has changed already. Alright, let's get started. Next to the many bug fixes and balancing tweaks, quite a few features have been added or improved. First off, in build 41.66 you can now finally remove your own place flooring. The times of you getting into an internal conflict because of a misplaced floor are finally over. Thumbs up for that, this issue has victimized me more than I'd like to admit. Do note that removing floors does ruin your precious lawn, so remove with caution. For those having trouble seeing the inventory containers on the side, you can now make them bigger in the display settings, which might come in handy when you're looting hundreds of containers in a warehouse for example, or if you just have below average eyesight. I do wish there was a way to increase the mood bubbles on the side of the screen also, but maybe one day. Do you want to wash and dry your clothing like in real life? Clothing washers now allow you to change the mode they are on. So now you can do both with just one machine. Never have they given you more reasons to take it home with you than now. Now this, my friends, is luxury. I do believe this only applies to the blue clothing washers, but I could be wrong. You like food? Well, who doesn't? Now you have an even wider variety of foods to plunge into your stomach acid. There is the tasty and fresh pierogies, and if you become one with the way of the pierogi and stay on the true path, you might even find some beans. The newly added beans are very calorie dense and come in both the white and black variety, which are of course best cooked. Seems I missed. Food is the charm? These beans are going to be cooked to perfection. Leave a comment down below if you want to try them. If not, well then there's more for me. Next to the beans they also added peas and lentils. So pretty much all the legumes. Now do you want to wash the delicious food we just cooked down with a drink? Well, the time of drinking directly from rivers and puddles might be over, as drinking from rivers or puddles will now give you the coronavirus and render you sick. I noticed it barely does any damage though, as they also made drinking tainted water less lethal. So go chug it if you want, at your own risk of course. During testing I noticed that sprinting against a fence makes me bash my head against it and fall over. I'm not sure if this is new, but I thought it was quite amusing. I'm sure someone in the comments will let me know. Now let's get into the really big change. The foraging system has been expanded on quite a bit. The game now lets you know how your traits and profession bonuses affect your foraging skill, and how the weather affects your vision and finds. Now that you have the game telling you which factors are affecting your odds, the foraging will feel a lot less random for those that weren't familiar with it. If I crouch for example, you can see how it affects my foraging experience with its 10% better vision, which is pretty epic. In the unstable build 41.68 you now get the option to only search for specific items also. So if you want food, then you no longer have to sift through a ton of rocks and sticks. The higher your foraging skill, the more you can narrow down your focus, as they call it. It seems to work pretty well. I found many leaks once I set the focus to vegetables, but also a cricket, which I am assuming is a bug, no pun intended there. This is a feature I was really missing and I love them for adding it. Now let's be honest, foraging is pretty OP once you have a high foraging skill. Items and food will just grow on trees, like almost literally. But I can't complain, foraging does make me feel a special type of way. You can now also find more items through foraging than before. In urban areas specifically you will be able to forage ammunition, medical supplies and clothing. Although these are most likely very rare finds for the sake of balancing. I tried finding some, but after 5 to 10 minutes of only finding rocks I called it quits. For a man's sanity can only take so much. I did find a handy magazine though. For those that don't know where to look for specific items, there is now also a button which tells you foraging tips depending on your foraging skill. The more skill, the more tips you get. For knowledge is power. Some tips are actually very handy. Did you guys know you can find medicinal herbs easier during and after rainfall? That beats me. I did not have a clue. Personally, I'm still waiting for the developers to nerf the bad effects of eating insects. For I'm not ashamed to say that I've eaten cooked bugs before in my life and they tasted rather fine. To the very least, they did not plunge me into a crippling depression as seen in the game. In the game it only takes 4 cooked crickets to make my character crippling depressed. Seeing hordes of rotting undead is something he can easily shake off, but those few crickets? No, they went too far, man. We recently hit 1000 subs on the channel, and I would love to thank you all for the support you've given me lately. We went from 125 subs to 1k in a very short time, which is absolutely crazy. And I want you to know that I appreciate you all. Without you guys, there is no me. And if you want to join the 1.6%, I'll be glad to have you. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all again very soon.